Welcome to Coffee Talks with Dan Norton and David Person.
Well, happy Sunday, my good friend Dan Norton. How are you today?
I'm good. It's in the UK. It's Mother's Day today, which I forgot until I saw it on my Facebook feed this morning. So I had to call my mum right as I got out of bed and was like, "Yeah, I didn't get you a gift because I forgot because it's not Mother's Day over here."
What? How many different holidays are there that don't? I would just think Mother's Day would be Mother's Day. So,
Yeah, most of
are
them
there
are
a
the
lot of
same.
differences?
No, most holidays are the same. Father's Day is the same. Basically, every other big holiday is the same. It's just Mother's Day for some reason is different.
Wow, interesting. Okay, well, you'd think after all these years you would have figured that out, but that's fine. You
Well, no,
just
because the date changes every year as well. So I
okay.
know
So
that it's
that makes
different,
sense.
but
That
the
makes sense.
date changes.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of us fighting and arguing incessantly, today's controversy doesn't involve the hobby, it involves you and me. So, as you know, recently on our last video, a couple of people commented and they said, David, you are the meanest SOB that's ever lived to Dan Norton, and it's not okay. And we refuse to watch you anymore. Not only are we boycotting your channel, we're boycotting the Coffee Talks podcast. Dan, what do I do? I can't. I mean, do you feel like I've really obliterated our friendship and my bullying has gotten over the top?
Yeah, you're a pretty terrible person to me sometimes when we start recording here. So maybe you need to change. Maybe you just need to be a better person.
Well, so that pretty much shoves everything right down the old throat. Okay. So,
I'm
okay.
kidding, of course. To everyone who watches, like it's never taken seriously when me and Dave are getting annoyed at each other. As I said in the comments, I think I podcast better sometimes when I'm riled up about something. So
Well, I appreciate that, Dan. I do want people to know that it's all in jest, and I do definitely try to be as self-deprecating as I can about myself as I am, for you. And then when we get talking, you always know more than I, and you don't bully me too much about it, except when you do. So, okay, Dan, next things today, we'll move right in because it's real noisy around me today. So if we don't finish up this soon, no one's going to hear anything when people start cracking and crashing into this room. Journey Together, a quick update. Seems to me, from what I'm seeing, it's all over the place.
yeah,
So clearly, prices are rapidly decreasing. I think that's a good thing. Product it's out there, and people are having success in finding it. So you hope that's part of that is supply, obviously, and you hope that a part of
yeah.
it is
I mean,
that people are also, like what they're
prices are plummeting because the set came out. There's a lot of people in a couple of local Facebook groups posting saying, "Why is the price going down?" It's because the set is out. The set came out on Friday. Friday was the official release. As we're recording this, it's Sunday. As people are seeing it, it's Monday. It's been out for 2 days as we're recording this. Of course, the price has crashed.
Yeah, good.
Never buy singles during pre-release time. Even when Walmart and Target start releasing it early, they release it Wednesday when they're supposed to release it Friday. Don't buy any singles until the set's properly out. Everything is like at least halved in price, it seems. Like maybe people were thinking this was going to be another Surging Sparks thing, but even if it was, even if a set is limited, there's always going to be so much more on release day than in the pre-release window. So just wait. But there's so much of this out there. It seems that this is really, really printed well. You can get a load of it. It's great. I think the Clefairy, the most expensive card, dropped from about 450 to maybe about 200. I know the Salamence I was looking at, because that's the most expensive card we still need, is down from 250 to maybe under 100 now. It's great. It shouldn't be too expensive to get this set.
And I wonder if this is a good or bad thing. Obviously, it depends on the amount they reprint. But if they're going to really focus on printing the heck out of new sets, I wonder if it's going to be that there be a time and frame like Surging Sparks and before, or Prismatic Evolutions and before, whatever it might be, where things actually won't get that as much reprint as desired, because of the focus on moving forward and making sure there's enough of it out there to where they might actually have a situation where
Well,
those end up holding value better than newer things. I mean, obviously, only time will tell, but it's just kind of interesting because, as they've said, you can only print so much regardless. You have to figure out how you're going to do it. Is it going to be reprints or new prints, etc.? So,
well, remember that for Prismatic, Prismatic is not a main series set, it's a special set. Prismatic is a bit different. Also, not all of the products are out for Prismatic yet. We still have a super premium collection coming, which will be 15 packs. There'll be I think it's a figure collection coming. I think that's another one with about 11 or 15 packs in it. So some of the actual bigger products for Prismatic Evolutions are still to come out. So Prismatic Evolutions is not even that stuff needs a reprint, it's just not every product has released yet. But Surging Sparks, I'm confident there'll be a reprint. Because we just saw a big reprint from Paldea Evolved up to maybe Temporal Forces, something like that. So there's no reason that we wouldn't be seeing a Surging Sparks reprint coming soon once they know that there's enough Journey out there. It just makes sense.
Yeah. And Prismatic, what I saw they announced was, so again, I don't know the verbiage, if it's a reprint or another print, but basically I saw that they're going to release the ETBs, I think May 10th. So,
yeah, ETBs and bundles, I think, are getting more printed, which is great.
yeah. So hopefully that's a good thing. All right, and then Dan, just a couple of thoughts. Let's talk about Journey Together. There's these. I wrote it down. Let's see. Is it the Hop Snorlax or something?
The
Can you talk
promos?
about those? Yeah, those promos. I
Yeah.
read they're supposed to come out on 3/28. We're past that, and that some of them have the Journey Together logo, some have the GameStop logo. What can you tell us about those?
So Hop Snorlax is in the North America, or at least in the US, it's the GameStop promo. I've already got mine. I managed to get mine in Laws, but I think I said this a couple of days ago. I wasn't able to get yours yet because it was limit one per person. So that's the same promo that in Australia and New Zealand will have an EB Games version. That's confirmed now. I've seen a copy of that one. And then for previous sets, it would have been just Europe got the version with the set logo on it. But now Asia is also getting that. So Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, they're also getting the version with just the set logo, the same that Europe is. So there's 3 versions of that. And then we have, I believe it's Hops Dubwool, is a US card with the set logo. That's our Best Buy promo. And that's normally US exclusive.
Okay, so there will be EB Games and GameStop both.
Yep, GameStop, EB Games, and set logo version
Okay,
of the
and then
Snorlax.
Dan, I noticed that the Destin Rivals, there was some speculation on what that promo card was going to be, or was
For
it?
the
I guess
ETB?
uh, yes, is the Wabuffet or something?
Yes, I think they've now confirmed that it's the Wobbuffet.
Did you any thoughts on that? Did you see it? Did you like it?
It looks
Them
cool. I
selecting
mean,
that card.
all of the ETBs have had really, really good choices for the promos. Like the End Zoroa for Journey Together is just a gorgeous card. Like, it looks really pretty. I mean, illustration rares as a whole are just absolutely knocking it out of the park. Like, I can see why they're above a lot of the full arts in terms of pricing. And for some sets, certain illustration rares will be above special illustration rares. Sometimes illustration rares are the most expensive cards in the set, and you can really see why. They're just stunning artwork.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so I was just going to say one last thing. I was excited after months and months and months of waiting. I actually I was part of this crowdfunding thing where they created a binder. And I think there's probably other companies have already done this, but I didn't know that because, of course, I don't grade cards. But they created a binder, Evo Retro Pro or whatever. I can figure it out if somebody asked me. But so they came up with a binder that holds graded cards. And so I don't have any of those. Previously, and I bought 3 of them. They hold 36 cards each. So I'm hopeful that within the confines of 108 cards, I can fit in my Disco Hollows and my Cosmos Hollows and my fourth print, not fourth print, but Dan, I say that they call it fourth print UK.
Base 2000, yeah.
Yes, that stuff. So anything that I've got graded cards, and I did that with these binders before. This company also put out just the hard card holder pages.
The top loader
so
binder.
Yes, the top loaders, right? Exact. I guess I didn't say that. They're not called. Are they called hard card holders?
I think technically that's the name, and then you can get most of them are top loaders, and occasionally you get side loading ones. But I think most people use the top loaders.
Okay. And so I put in obviously all my trophy cards, and it was nice to just be able to get them out of the boxes so that you can just open a binder page and see them. And I think that's what's so fun. And I'm looking forward to doing that with all of these, the handful of graded cards I have in the collection, so that I don't have to always go, where was that card in that set? Because I still have sets that have 2 or 3 or a variant that you and I have bought over the time. that it's nice
Yeah.
to have a place to put and be able to open them up and know that everything is contained in the binders now for everything. So
Yeah, there was some of those champion. I think a couple of your champion stamp DCEs and maybe one of the top eights. You ended up getting graded ones just because that was available. The original IC promos.
yes, yeah. So, anyways, just excited about that. Finally, after months and months for that to come in. So,
Yeah.
Dan, that's it for me on in the intro comments. Do you have anything before I lay into today's topic?
No, I mean, I don't know what today's topic is yet, so why don't you tell me, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, the topic today, my friend, is you. It's actually you. It's my good friend Dan Norton. And
Oh dear.
in all the years that we've been doing this, I don't think I've ever asked you, and that's just rude, to really. And I think, and I know you've done a podcast or two where you've maybe talked about this, but your indoctrination into the hobby, how you started, and what was it that grew it for you, grew your interest in it, and your age and progress, and moving from UK to here. Just I think people that haven't heard that would really love to know, what got you so immersed in this, and what was behind your ability to really begin to be one of the kind of the true younger OGs, and understanding everything about Pokemon.
So I liked Pokemon as a kid. I'm right at that correct age where I was like 8 when the video games came out. I really got caught up in the hype and everything, and then kind of stopped caring. I think around when Generation 2 came out, I just kind of fell out of caring about Pokemon really because it was more seen more as a kids thing, and so I was probably about 11 or 12 by that point. And then it was when I was 17 or 18 and I first started working, I started collecting Doctor Who cards, the Battles in Time trading card game for when the show got revived. So I really liked the show, and then so I was collecting cards from that, and then it was from there. So I was dating someone at the time who was another big collector of different things. So I fell in love with the idea of collecting again, which is how I ended up starting on Doctor Who cards. And then from there, it was kind of just buying the occasional Pokemon card here or there, where it was stuff where I was like, oh, I remember that card as a kid. I never had that one. Got a couple. And then it just kind of snowballed where I got involved in, I joined Poke Gym and got involved in like the online community, chatting to people. And it just became a big thing where chatting to people, making loads of friends. The fact that I was more involved in the community meant that I was buying more cards or spending more of my time on that. And it just became the point where I was like, well, if I want to collect, like I want to know what's out there. I want to have all the information so I know what I'm buying. And then that just evolved to, well, I want to know, I want to know everything. If the stuff that isn't out there, I want to find it out. And then that especially ramped right up when I started helping you out with stuff, because with that, it was like, oh, well, if it was for myself, it was like, oh, well, I can know what's out there, but I can't go and buy it all. So maybe I just make a note of it and forget about it if I can't afford it, whatever. I'll know in the back of my mind it's there. But then when it's with you, you can go out and we are trying to buy everything for you. So I have to properly document this now. I have to make sure we know what you're missing, and then I have to go and actively try and track it down or find the origins or something of it because there's times where you go like, oh yeah, there's that error version or there's that corrected card, and it's like, well, I don't know where it came from. I just know it's around. But because we're getting everything for you, I then go more into, okay, I need to know where this actually came from, so I know where to look while I'm trying to get it, and that's how it just evolved from there. Moving over here was obviously because I met Law. We talked online first, then met at Worlds, and then so I moved over here on the fiance visa to get married, and I've been here nearly 9 years at this point over in the US. A lot of people still don't know that I moved to the US. So a lot of people still think that I live in the UK. I don't. I've been in Ohio since 2016.
I just don't think those people you would call your close friends, but I could be wrong. I mean, who am I to say what a close friend is these days? But if they really don't know after 9 years, you may want to do a little more communication with them or
Well,
something. So
I guess it's a lot of people I just see at Worlds or whatever, and I was seeing people at Worlds even when I lived in the UK, so
yeah, and it's funny because when there were times when we were doing worlds, and back when you were in the UK and you knew all the worlds play, you knew all the UK players, so we had more of a way to get
yeah.
to them than we did the US players. So
Yeah, I think back then as well, it was a much smaller pool of players that you knew were likely to top cut events. I think especially back then because it was only TCG we ever had to look at. So even though it was only three chances at getting certain cards, we were only looking at TCG. Now, I mean, even since they started giving them out, I think a good chunk of your trophy cards have come from VGC. One because they are less attached to it as a card, and also because obviously Ruben's helped us out. Ruben can over the last few years, Ruben's helped us get in touch with a lot of VGC players, so that's helped out a lot there as well. So I think that has changed a lot over the years. It wasn't just the fact that I've moved over here that's changed.
Yeah. You kind of glossed over, the beginning, the beginning of the franchise, and you were, you enjoyed the anime or whatever, but how did you build the beginnings of your collection? Were you buying like you have some full sets from the beginning era, right? So did you?
No, no. Everything that I had it as a kid. Me and my brother collected a lot
Yeah.
of full sets, but by the time I came back into collecting, they were gone. Everything I've got, I started from scratch in 2008.
Okay, so do you have like base set Fossil Jungle? Have you gone back and reacquired that stuff?
I have I have base set unlimited at least complete. I made sure I got that. Fossil and Jungle, I have decent amounts of it, but basically anything pre Diamond and Pearl, so the WotC era and the EX era, are very spotty in
Okay.
my collection. WotC era, I focused pretty heavily on the promos. I think I have nearly every promo and variant from the WotC era. I literally think for the WotC Black Star promos, there's the three birds they have error versions with the wrong illustrator. I
Yeah.
can't remember which bird, and I can't remember if it's error or corrected I needed, but I know that I need one of those birds still. And I think that's actually it for even for variants, because I have like the even the Red Cheeks E3 Pikachu, all that stuff, and then EX era, I've been working a lot on promos and variants lately, like getting those cataloged and figuring out what I'm missing. Because EX era, especially, I don't think I'm ever, not anytime soon, going to be putting sets together because obviously the earlier sets have that code thing that we talked about where it's very difficult to put a set together. The later sets have like the gold stars and things like that where there's so much to just put a set together because of those gold stars that I would rather focus on getting the promos and the variants. And I've actually just set up. Normally, I set up a binder per set, but because I don't have binders for my EX era sets set up, I've put together a nice binder that's Black Star promos and then all variants from EX era, and I'm working on that. So back to Diamond and Pearl, I've got all my binders set up as sets. There might be a couple of sets plasma wise. I don't know if I've got binders for. I'd have to double check because I was on a bit of a dip during plasma era, but everything else there I've got all binders and everything sorted for. So if I'm finishing sets, it's going to be in the Diamond and Pearl on era, but probably in the HCSS era first because that's my favorite era. Or like very modern sets where are more easily available.
Have you ever purchased a set complete, or have you literally built every set or attempted to build every set card by card on your own?
I don't think I've ever purchased a complete set. No, I think it's everything is opening stuff, buying occasional singles. My base unlimited set was maybe a complete set purchase. That might be the only one, and then from that I upgraded condition of a few during the years. But I think I maybe bought that as a complete set, and then upgraded stuff.
If you had the budget, I mean, again, so if you could find like a Neo set, or a Gym Challenge set or something like that, because I'm often surprised that people sell complete sets near mint condition, and they might only be a couple of $1,000 or three or
Yeah.
$4,000, and I know that's a lot of money, but that's a vintage set versus spending the same amount for a brand new set. If you were more active in looking at the markets from the vintage type times and you see these sets out there, do you think you'd ever consider saying, gosh, that's a beautiful, Gym Heroes or Gym Challenge set or Neo something set, and I can get every card for so much money, I might want to do that and, you know, start to jump back a little bit, or you just kind of, is that just the longer term thing and you just stay with the current and keep moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's a longer term thing. I think I would, because I have some like modern era sets that are really close. I think if I had that if I had that much, what it would probably go on is some sort of very rare recent card. Like I'd be buying like an Asia trophy card or something, which
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
the biggest purchases I've made lately. And I might end up trying to get that Zoroark Master Ball. We're going to get yours first, obviously. I might end up trying to put my name down for one of those just because I've talked about this in recent videos. I'll go back into it. But I, if I was doing sets, I would rather spend a few $100s each on multiple different sets and then maybe finish out a few rather than just jump into one I don't even have a binder for and finish that off.
Yeah. Dan, if you could buy one set in full that you didn't own right now, what would it be?
That I don't own?
Yes, like
Oh,
an EX era set or something. What would the set be that would be the first one you would buy if you could, that you don't own right now, if you had the money to do it?
I mean, it it maybe would be EX Deoxys, which I guess is an answer a lot of people are going to have because it's got those three very, very valuable gold stars in it.
Hmm.
But the main thing for me would be because I already have the Stadium Challenge Deoxys, it would be, oh, I could actually do the master set if I bought the full set and had
Yeah.
it. I'd maybe be two or three variants away from the master set, and no one other than you has the master set as far as I know. Because I mean, there's so few people have the Stadium Challenge Deoxys at all, and the ones that do, I imagine don't have most of them don't have full sets, so no one else that I know who owns one has a full set of Deoxys as well.
Got it. And when you and how does your collection compare to Lore's? Because I know you guys are tremendously competitive.
Yeah.
I've seen you guys in action, and so when you got together with her, when you first kindled the relationship, and you were sort of glancing at your collections at that moment in time, did she have a more robust one than you? Did you have more than her? Were they about the same?
Law's collection is certainly more complete than mine. Like Law has master sets done from I think towards the end of I think it's HGSS up to towards the end of XY era. I think Law has master sets done for. One of the reasons is Law is not as picky on condition as I am. I would prefer to have one mint card going in. Law is very much on the I'll pick up whatever, fill the gap. The only time I ever do that is if it's a card that's just very hard to find overall. Like when I talk about my EX promo binder, there's the non-hollow Pikachu, the Black Star promo Pikachu, where the non-hollow version was like only released in Scandinavia or something. The non-hollow one, I have a bad condition one in there, and the Kyogre Groudon, without the dot codes, that was another like Norway something. I have nice condition ones of those now, but I got played ones originally just to fill the gaps because of how rare they actually were. But when it comes to sets and stuff from booster packs, I would rather wait and get the best condition ones. And then the other thing is obviously I've got the trophy cards, which I had those before I met Laura, before we moved in together at least. Those were a huge expense. That was a very, very big purchase over a couple of years. So Law was obviously putting the sets together, whereas I focused so much of my money on getting that set of trophy cards. So when it comes to something like that, Law's is definitely more complete. I think even at the time, I think mine had more value because of the trophy cards, but we both just collect in super different ways
Yeah.
is really the way it goes. What we used to always do, we'd build Law's set first and then build mine because Law was getting a load of boxes from tournaments. With Sword and Shield, we switched it because I was doing way more opening videos and stuff, so it was nicer to see my progression on video. And then we agreed Scarlet Violet, we switched back, and Law gets the first crack at stuff in Scarlet Violet.
Got it. Okay. So I have one last question for you, and that's it, because I know 17 people are going to walk into this room, and we don't have any more time for today. So, but here's my last question, and I just want a brief comment from you because I want to talk about it in another video in much more depth. But I'm not going to ask you the question with respect just to Pokemon, because obviously your collector interest type of, antennae are much more robust. You like so many more different kinds of card games as well. You like Doctor Who and Star Wars and Lorcana and whatever else you're doing the time of the day or time.
Sure.
But would you consider yourself, if you're taking an objective view of yourself, so not subjective, but as objective as you can be, would you consider yourself addicted to card collecting?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You know what? That's a perfect place to end, because I want to do a whole podcast on that. Yeah. So that's it for I Got Today, Dan. I got nothing else in the queue. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's fine. We actually got a shorter episode for once, I guess, since you have some people coming in, so you need to wrap up early. But yeah, we can jump into the idea of addiction tomorrow, maybe. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, my friend. It's always great to see you. Yes. Yeah. I've got a lot to talk about that always. Yeah. So. All right. Listen, thank you to everybody. Please shout us out to your friends and collector groups. And it's wonderful to hear how Dan's beginnings came about, because I'm sure we can really peel that all back a lot more as time goes on. But thanks for sharing today. I appreciate it.
All right. See you guys.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Coffee Talks with Dan Norton and David Person, with music by More Than Never and artwork by Lore Norton. A special thanks to all our Patreon members. Join us again next time.
But they don't want you to.